Hello everyone. Okay, let's look how to input in Java. Using two classes we can input. One is using buffer reader or data input stream. This buffer reader or data input stream from the package java.io package, and using scanner class, that is from java.util package. So two classes we can use for inputting values to the in the program. One is the buffer reader or data input stream, that both are from java.io package, and second one using scanner class from java.util package. So here we are going to learn, or you are just learning, scanner class. So what is a scanner class? Scanner is a class that can pass text to primitive data types and substring using regular expression, and it splits input into substrings or tokens separated by the delimiters. The default delimiter means that is the white space. Wherever white space is available, according to that it will split that strings or data into tokens. So tokens can be obtained as strings or primitive data types. So using the scanner class, it will convert the text to primitive data types and substrings. How it process, it splits the input into substring or token based on the white space. That is known as the default delimiters. So these are the two classes. The second class we are learning, scanner class. So to use scanner class for input, what is the first step? We have to import the scanner class to the program. For that we are importing java.util.scanner package. That is from the util package we are importing the class. So we can write import java.util.star, or you can write import java.util.scanner. That means a particular scanner class will import to that particular scanner class will import to the program. Okay, so the beginning of a program should be import statement, import java.util.scanner. Second one, we are creating an object of the scanner class. You know what is an object and how to create an object. Here scanner is the class, so scanner object name sc equal to new scanner or system.in, that we are using. Okay, the next one, using scanner object, how to read the values of different data types. All of you know well these all. Next in means sc dot next in of for reading integers, next float of reading floating point, next double of reading double precision numbers, next boolean of for reading boolean values, next of for reading strings. If you want to read strings, we can use the method next of. So how will you write? Sc dot next of, is it? So for reading the characters, we will use next of dot char at of 0. Here C is the small letter, A is the capital S. So char at of 0. 0 means the 0th position, because in Java there is no a direct method to access a character in using scanner class. So what actually we have to do? We have to use that next method. This method is for string. We are using the string method and reading a string, and the 0th position of that string is considering as the character. Example, we are reading as a string school. Then what is a school is the string means the first position, always position start from 0, 1 like this. So first position is considering as the character. Okay, by this way. Example, if you want to read as character, if I want to read a character means first it will take it as a string by using the next method, then it will consider the string's first character. String's first character means 0th position. That's why next of dot char at of 0. Char at is the method is representing the particular character at the position of 0. Okay, for reading characters we should write like this, next of dot char at of 0, and there is no direct method like next char of or next character of. So first you have to remember this one. If you want to read a character using in the scanner class means we have to use this method, next of dot char at of 0. Okay, next one is expressions. What do you mean by expressions? It's a valid combination of operators, constants and variables. That is a legal combination of Java tokens is known as expression. And in an expression, we know it is made up of operands and operators. Example, x equal to a plus b. This is an expression. So it consists of operands and operators. And you know what is an operand and operator. The objects of the operations are referred to as operand, and operations are represented through the operator. So here A and B are operands. These are operands. These are operands, and plus is known as operator, that all of you know. And these expressions can be any type, like arithmetic expression or relational or logical expression, compound expression, like this. Any type of expressions we can write, is it? Mainly expressions are classified into two types. What are they? Means pure expression and mixed expression. Pure expression means it contains same data type as data type operands. Example, here you can see here, this is example, integer. 3 variables we are declaring in the same data type, integer a, b, c. So we can write in the single expression c equal to a plus b. So this expression means it is pure expression. Why? These all are same data type. A is the integer, c is integer, b is integer. So this type of expressions are known as pure expression. The next one is mixed expression. What means mixed expression? Mix means different data type will be there in that expression. Example, here c equal to a plus b, and here b is float data type and c and a are integer data type. Both are mixing. So integer and float are mixed here in this expression. That's why this expression is known as mixed expression. So mixed expression means an expression contains mixed data type operands. Pure expression means it contains same data type operands. And another example here, yeah, this example, pure integer expression and real number expression. These are the other examples. Okay. Then using mathematical library methods, how we can write the program, or how we will use this mathematical methods in the program. So these are the expressions. All of you know expressions are classified into two types. What are they? That we discussed, and how will you identify. Next one, how will you use the mathematical methods in a program? If you want to use a mathematical library method, we have to use java.lang package. So java.lang package contains mathematical functions. So that mathematical functions in a class known as math class. So you have to write whenever if you want to use any method, means we have to use the class name math. Before that, first we have to import the java.lang package. Is it? Yeah, it is a default package, java.lang package. So math.function, what is a function, that you can write it. Okay. So using mathematical library method, how we will use the mathematical methods in a program using java.lang package, and method class name is math is the class name. So this is the syntax to write math methods in the program. Math.function name of argument list. So let's look. Here some methods are there. In the reader you have some methods. You just go through it. Example here, we will discuss here one or two. Sine of x. If you want to get a sine value, then we can use sine of x. Math.sine of this 6 or 7, like that. This one you know, all of you. If you want to find the power of 2,3. It is difficult. It is in the case of 2 power 3 means 2 into 2 into 2. In the case of 2 power 13 means it's very difficult to write and multiply manually. So we can use the mathematical function. How will you write? Math dot power means we can use power of math dot pow of which value 2 comma 30, like this you can write it. Okay, you can write and find the values. Okay. So this is mathematical functions, and this one sqrt is square root. If you want to find the square root of 6, so how will you write? Math dot sqrt of 6. This way you can write it, and it will return this value. Then flow, seal, these all you can just all of you have to learn these all functions and actions with example, because 2 mark is very important. All of you have to learn these all functions. Okay. So let's move to the next one. Yeah, how to write an expression in Java. This is also for 2 mark question they will ask. An expression has given like this: minus b plus or minus or plus root of square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. You should write in a Java, or how will you write in Java expression? So you know that what are the mathematical functions we have to use. So how we can write minus b plus math dot square root is indicating math dot sqrt of b square. B square, it is simple one, so we can write b into b If example b power 12 means, again you have to use another method, mat dot power of b comma 12, like that you have to write here b square. So minus b plus mat dot sqrt of b into b minus 4 into a into c. Yes, 4ac, you know, this is the products. So whenever you are writing the Java expression or whenever you are writing in the programs, you should write like this. Don't write 4ac. You should always indicate which operator. So the system has to identify which operator is C. We know this is 4ac means 4a into c, but in the program we have to mention it clearly, or we have to use the operator for multiplication symbol a, multiplication symbol c, like this. Okay, then close the bracket, divide, again open the bracket, 2 into a. This is the format you have to write in the program also. If you are not writing it properly, it will show some errors, and this is very important in the programs and for 2-mark questions also. Always you have to remember, if any multiplications 2ab means how you have to write in Java. 2 into in the programs means you have to write 2 into a into b. This is only valid one. If you are writing like this means it is wrong and you won't get marks also. Second example, a x square plus b divided by c x plus d. How will you write? A into mat dot power of x comma 2. Here also you can write in a simple way. How will you write? You can write x into, sorry, you can write like this, x into, 1 minute, sorry, a into x into x plus b. We can write like this, isn't it? Yes, at least one mathematical functions we have to use. That's why mat dot power of x comma 2 plus b divided by c into x plus d. All of you know cx means c into x. Okay, c into x plus d. So this is the way of writing expressions in the program. Okay, all these are the important points. So next one is type conversion. In the name or title itself, you know, it is converting one data type into another data type. Is it? Yes. When expression having mixed data type, they are converted to the same data type. For that case, we are using this type conversion. So what is type conversion? When the process of converting one predefined data type into another data type, or process of converting one data type into another data type is known as type conversion. Type conversion, Java allows two forms of type conversion. One is implicit type conversion, another one is explicit type conversion. So first one is known as implicit type conversion. This implicit type conversion means it's performed by the compiler without programmer's intervention. That means programmers doesn't want to specify the conversion. It automatically done by the system. It converts all operands up to the type of largest operand, which is called type promotion. So implicit type conversion is known as type promotion. It's automatically done by the compiler without programmer's intervention. Then implicit type conversion, wherein data types are promoted, lower data type to, it is promoting to the higher one, or it is promoting to the, or converting to the largest operand data type. So it is known as coercion. So implicit type conversion is known as type promotion, and it is also known as coercion. And some rules for this implicit type conversion. What are the rules? First one, if either operand is of type double, data type double means other is also converted to double. Otherwise, if the either operand is of type float means the other data type is also converted to float. If either operand is type long means the other is also converted to long. So, and the last one, both operands are converted to type int. So these are the different rules for the type conversion in implicit type conversion. And that means in an expression, consider float and double are there, then it's automatically converted to the largest one. Which one is the largest one? It will convert to double. Okay, the next one is explicit type conversion. So type conversion means converting one data type into another data type. Two types, one is implicit, another one is explicit. Implicit means without programmer's intervention. That means automatically system converting from one data type into its largest operand data type. So explicit, second one is the explicit data type. So this is known as user defined conversion. User has to explicitly indicate which data type. We need to convert to particular data type. That one we have to, user has to indicate. That is known as user defined conversion or explicit type conversion. The explicit type conversion of an operand to a specific type is known as typecasting. So implicit typecast conversion is known as type promotion or coercion. Explicit type conversion is known as typecasting. It has a syntax. Data type expression. So many of you have identified this one. Have you seen this one? If you want to convert a value 3.5 or 3.0, 3.0 means this is a float value, is it? This is a float value. We need to convert it into integer. Then we have to represent inside the bracket. This one is known as int. In bracket. This is type bracket. We will tell this is a type bracket or type operator. Type operator means inside the bracket we have to represent or indicate the particular data type to which we have to convert. Okay. So int 3.0, that means 3.0 is the float value. We need to convert it into integer. So syntax, data type inside the bracket, then the expression you have to write semicolon. Okay. Then example, int 3.5, so it will display as integer value. What value it will display? Only 3. If you want to convert this float 3, then how will you write 3.0? Like this questions, like this examples we can do for explicit type. So here today we discussed about inputs type. What are the different ways of reading a value in Java program using this buffer reader and scanner, IO package and util package, and what is a scanner and how we will write the scanner class, creating object, what are the methods we are using for the scanner, then what is an expression, what are the two types of expression, examples for the two types of expression, and how we will use this mathematical library methods in a program using the math class from which package, and different mathematical methods also there. In one class we will discuss these all methods. Okay, by an example we can discuss all the methods. Now we will move to the next topic, and how to write the expression in Java programming using this mathematical methods. That's all we have discussed. And next one is type conversion. Type conversion also two types, explicit and implicit. Which one is user defined and you automatic conversion, these all you know. Then the rules also you should follow. This explicit conversion. Next we are moving to the conditional constructs in Java. What are the conditional constructs in Java? Two types of conditional constructs. That first one is if, and the one is switch. If means you know if statement. First one is the if statement. How we will write the expression syntax. If the condition you have to write, then if it is true means it will execute the statement 1, else it comes to the statement 2. For this a program accept a number in the range of 1 to 99 and display if the ender number is a single digit or double digit number. Double digit means single digit means 1 to 9 is a single digit, is it? Yes. Then from 10 to 99, that is a 2-digit number. So how we can give the conditions? Or we can tell greater than 0 and less than 10. This condition means greater than 0 and greater than 0 and less than 10 means that is a single digit number, else it is a double digit number, is it? So you have to read in 2-digit number and just give the condition if the number is greater than 0 and this and is a relational AND operator. This is a logical AND operator. This is a relational expression, and double AND is a logical AND operator. Double ampersand we have to use if both are true. If both are true means it will give true. That is the property of AND operator. So number greater than 0 and number less than 10 means it will display a message it is a single digit number, else it is a double digit number. That means if the condition, if we are giving as an example here c greater than 0, if the condition is true means it will execute the first statement or the statements inside the if statement. If you have more 2 or more statements, we have to use these braces. If only one statement means no need of that braces. Else statement also. Else means the condition is false means it will execute the else statement. This is if statement. The next one is the nested if. Nested if means what? If statement contains another if. That is known as nested if. Here an example, the same example. Modify the program to handle this situation when this users enters a number not in the range of only 1999. Okay, so how we have to use we have to tell if number greater than 0 and number less than 10 means that is a single digit number. Yes. Else again another condition. Else if we are connecting with if. First if condition, then statement, then next one is the else if statement. Else if, in the same statement you can write else if of number greater than or equal to 10 and number less than 100 means again we can give a message you entered a double digit number. Else means you enter number beyond the asked range. Okay. So if, else, if. So how we can write this one? Nested if means if condition, then else if, again another condition, open braces and close braces for the statements, again one more else. That is, this is closing here. So this is known as if else nested if statement. Nested if means an if statement contains another if. So in this one, first if, then else, then if, another else. So this is known as nested if. Next constructs the switch statement. Switch selection statement successively test the value of an expression against a list of integer or character constants. We are giving the constants as case 1, 2, 3 like that constant, and whenever it's match, it is when a match is found, the statements associated with that constants are executed. That is not a switch statement. Okay. So that is a selection statement, and in that syntax, how will you write switch statement? Switch the expression, what expression we are giving, that you have to give inside the bracket, open the braces, then case is the keyword we are using here. This is the constant. Example, if you are writing a, if you want to display the weeks, or case, days, just to consider days. If we are giving M, it should print what it has to print. It has to print SOP Monday. Like this, Monday, if you are giving. So this is the case, is a keyword, and constant 1 means the name constants we are passing here. Okay. Tuesday we can represent as T, or you can represent 1. If we are we are inputting the value of 1. Integers means 1 is indicating Monday, 2 is indicating Tuesday, like that case. That 1, 2, 3 is also indicating as the constant number. Here, whatever the values we are giving, this is known as the constant. So case constant, colon should be there, then the statement 1. What are the statement we have to executed in under this case? That all statement you can write it here one by one. Then the break statement, semicolon, case 2, case constant 2, statement 2, break, semicolon, like this. How many cases you can write as per the requirement you can write it. Then default is the last statement, default, semicolon, statement. So this is the syntax of switch statement. And one more thing, what do you mean by fall through? The fall of a control to the following cases of matching case. That is, if the control flows to the next case below the matching case in the absence of break. Why we are using this break? That means after the execution, example, consider the first case we are executing. After this statement, it has to exit that switch case. Exit that switch. Otherwise, if we are not giving any break, just to consider, if we are not giving any break means it immediately execute the second statement. That is, it is immediately execute the case 2 also and execute the second statement of the case 2. If break is there means what it happens, break means after the execution, after the completing of this section, it will execute, or the compiler identifies the break statement and will come out of the loop, come out of the switch statements. Okay. So if there is no break in between this, there is no break means, that means inside, in this example, sorry, in this syntax, there is no break means it immediately, the control flows to the next case below the matching case. Which one is the matching case? Just example, here we have given capital M. Consider this one is a capital M. I have given in the input also M. So it has to execute the first statement and it has to come out of the switch, is it? But if there is no break means, what it will do? It will execute the second one also. That position or that situation is known as fall through situation. The fall of control to the following cases of the matching case if the control flows to the next case below the matching case in the absence of the break. So in the absence of the break statement, it will continue to the next case also. This is known as fall through. If there is break statement means after the execution of the corresponding case, it will exit that switch. Okay, this is known as fall through concept. So the next one is iterative constructs. So just before we discussed about the conditional construct, two types of conditional construct, if and switch. And next one is the iterative constructs. Iterative means iteration statements or looping statement allow a set of instructions to be performed repeatedly until a certain condition is fulfilled. So three looping statements are there: for loop, while loop, and do while. For means in the single statement itself, first itself we have to give the initialization, test expression, update expression, everything. So example statement syntax: for initialization, semicolon, test expression, semicolon, update expression. You can write like this: for if a factorial or any value, for integer, initialization, here is the initialization process, int I equal to 1, semicolon, don't forget to put the semicolon, I less than or equal to 10 is the condition we are giving, again semicolon. Update expression means increment or decrement operator we can give it here, I plus plus. Okay, then inside this we are just printing a system.out.println of I. So what is the output it prints? It will print one by one. Why? How? The operation or the process of for loop, first it will check the initialization value. So what is the initialization value? I equal to 1. Okay, so in the memory I is initialized as 1. Then it will comes to the condition statement. It will check is 1 less than or equal to 10. If the condition is true, if the condition means this one, condition is true means it will immediately execute the statement inside the for loop. So what it has to, this condition is true? Yes, if the condition is true. So what it has to execute? System.out.println of I. That means 1 it has to print. After printing the statements inside the for loop, then it will go to that increment operator or update expression. There, I plus plus. What is I plus plus? I is increased thus. I already 1. It is increased thus 2. So again it will come here. No need of this initialization. Once an initialization is enough, is it? But the value of I is updating in the memory. I equal to 2, and it will check the condition 2 less than or equal to 10. Yes, the condition is true. If the condition is true means what it will do? It will execute the statements inside the for loop. So what is the statement? System.out.println of I. So now what is the value of I? I equal to 2. Again now, here this is I. Again I is increased thus I plus plus. After this statement, execution of this statement, it will go here for the update expression and I equal to 3. Again 3 less than or equal to 10. The condition is true. If the condition is true means it will execute the statement inside the for loop. After the execution of statement, it will go to the update expression like this. It will continue till I less than greater than or equal to 10. So last value, if I equal to 10 means the case condition 10 less than or equal to 10. Yes, the condition is true. That's why it again print the value 10, and it will go here I plus plus. I plus plus means I becomes 11. What is the condition? 11 less than or equal to 10. No, the condition is false. Till here it will print the value and it will exit that for loop. Okay, this is the process of for loop. For initialization, test expression, update expression, and body of loop. The next one is while. While means iterates or repeats until test condition is true. Till the test condition true, it will continue. The same while here I less than or equal to 5. Just I am giving less than or equal to 5. Consider I equal to 1. Int I equal to initialized I equal to 1. And one more thing, in for loop we are initializing. For means initializing int I equal to 1 in the same statement. Initialization, semicolon, I less than or equal to 5 and I plus plus. These all are in the same statement. Yes, sir. But in the case of while loop, we have to initialize first, then use the condition, then the next update expression or whatever conditions we can write. System.out.println of which value we need to print? I. If we want to print I, system.out.println, this SOP, you have to write it for, okay. System.out.println of I, we need to print the values of I. Then what we have to give? I plus plus. This increment operator we have to give it here. So how it will execute? First it will initialize the value. Yeah, it will check the initialize the value. What is the initialize the value? I equal to 1. Then it will check the condition. What is the condition? I less than or equal to 5. That means 1 less than or equal to 5. Yes, the condition is true. If the condition is true means it will execute the statements inside the braces. What is the statement here? System.out.println of I. So what value it will print? I equal to 1. First it will print the value. Then it will comes to the increment operator, or this is the update expression I plus plus. So it becomes I equal to, what is the value of I? I is updated as 2. Again it will go here till this condition becomes false, till that the loop is repeating or the number of statement execution is repeating. That is the while loop. Okay. So again 2 less than or equal to 5. The condition, yes, true. That's why it will print I value 2. Again the increment operator 3. Like this it will continue till next one 4 5. 5 means yes, 5 less than or equal to 5. Yes, the condition is true. So it will print which value? 5 it will print, and next one I becomes 6, and the condition it will check 6 less than or equal to 5. Till 6 it will check, till 5 it has to print, and 6 it will check the condition is false, so it will come out of. So the next one is do while loop. The do while has a specialty comparing to for loop and while loop, because in do while at least once it has to execute. Even if the test condition is false also, that loop, body loop should be executed at least once. That is the specialty of do while. That means evaluates the condition after executing the body of the loop, and the loop body is re-executed if it's true, otherwise loop terminates. Okay. Here, so do while syntax, first we will write the do. That means giving the instructions, like whatever statement has to execute it, that all we will included inside the braces. That is do, then the open the braces, then you have to type the statement or instruct the statements. Then after the closing of brace do statement, while this condition followed with a semicolon. Don't forget to put the semicolon here, then it will execute it properly. That means example, the same example do, I'm just giving do, already we discussed to print that statement, is it? So system.out.println of I, here I am just giving, and initialization everything we are giving in here, integer I equal to 1 semicolon. Then what is the next statement? I plus plus. So here do statement, inside the do statement we have to print the message, then I plus plus increment operator, then after the loop, while I less than or equal to 5 semicolon. So how it will execute? First it will print the statement. First we have initialized the value I equal to 1. The next do statement, inside this system.out.println of I, so it will print the value of I equal to 1, then I plus plus. Now I is increased as 2 in the memory, is it? Yeah. Then next it will check while I less than or equal to 5. After this it will check the condition. Is the condition is true? 1 less than or equal to 5? Yes. If it is true means it will again come to here. Which one? Do section. Again come to here, and now what is the value of I? I is updated as 2, so it will print 2. Then again I is incremented as I equal to 2, and increase the value. Again it will come and check the condition, 2 less than or equal to 5. Like this it will continue till 5 less than or equal to 5. Yes, the condition is true, and when it comes to after this it will print 5, then I is increasing as 6, so it will come here, and 6 less than or equal to 5. The condition is false. So what is the concept of do while? Do while means at least once it has to execute even the condition is false. And if the loop body is re-executed if it is true, otherwise it will terminate the loop. So this is the syntax. And the next one is nested for loop. Nested if statement we have done the same case. Nested for loop means a for loop contains another for loop, and always inner loop must terminate before the outer loop. This is known as. Next is infinite loop or endless loop. That is, if in any loop the test condition is missing or it is not reachable, then such a loop. That example, for you are giving an initialization value and you are not giving a text condition, and increment or decrement that value we are giving means that is an infinite loop or an endless loop. Okay, here you can see one program that one explained for to print a triangle with numbers 1 to 4 in 4 rows using a nested for loop. So first one, 4 rows and 4 columns we need is 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, 4 rows and 4 columns. So we will start with in nested loop for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 4, I plus plus. Then inside the for loop, open the brace for j equal to 1, j less than or equal to I, j plus plus. This is inside the for loop. Then we have to print the value of j. So when 4 equal to 1, the how it will work? I equal to 1, starting value of initialization of first loop this one, I equal to 1. It will check the condition, is I less than or equal to 4? Yes, the condition is true. So here I equal to 1, starting with the I loop, I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 4, 1 less than or equal to 4, the condition is true. If the condition is true means it will execute the inner loop. What is that inner loop? J equal to 1, j less than or equal to I, that is 1 less than or equal to 1. Yes, the condition is true, it will print j. So it has print the j. Next, I, after printing what value, what it has to execute, it will come to the updating expression, j becomes 2. Listen, j plus j means j becomes 2, 2 less than or equal to 1. True or false? The condition is false. So if the condition is false means what it has to do? When the condition becomes false, this condition becomes false means it will come out of the loop, this for loop. That means from here it will come out, and sorry, from here, yeah, total loop it will, for total j loop it will come out, and it will look here system. This is inside the I loop, system.out.println. So the control will go to the next line. Okay, then what is the next step? After this, after the println, it will go to this one where increment operator is it. Now I is equal to 2, I is increasing as 2. So again I is equal to 2 and I is increases 2, and it will check the condition, 2 less than or equal to 4. Yes. Here 2 less than or equal to 4. Yes, 4. So again j condition, j equal to 1, 1 less than or equal to 2. Yes, true. True means which value it has to print? J. So in the next line it will print j, 1. Then again j is increasing, and again the condition is j equal to 2, 2 less than or equal to 2. Yes, 2 less than or equal to 2 means it is, yes, the condition is true. It leaves some space and it will print 1, 2. Okay. Then again j is equal to 3. What is the condition true or false? False. 3 less greater than or equal to 2 means it is false. So it will come out of the loop. From where it will come out? This entire j loop should come out. Is it? This entire j loop, it is coming out, and it repeats. So the final answer what we will get like this. This is the output 1, 2, 1, 2. This is the output for this program. Okay. The next one, break and continue statements. Break and continue statements are known as jump statement. Break and continue statements are known as jump statement, as they jump the normal control flow of the execution. That's why it is known as jump statement. First one is the break statement. You know this break statement we have given inside the switch statement. Is that the break statement when used inside the switch ends that case. Whenever break is there, it ends that particular case and it will come out of the switch. When a break statement is executed inside a loop means the loop is terminated and program control resumes at the next statement following the loop. Wherever break is there, it will stop, it will exit that particular, or it will terminate that loop and control and resume the next statement after the loop. Continuous statement means when a continuous statement is inside a loop means from that point, all remaining statement in the body of the loop are skipped and loop proceeds with the next iteration. It will continue with the next iteration. That is known as continue statement. So these all comes in the chapter 1. So you can just revise these all and do the exercise questions, everything. Okay. Thank you for watching.